Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel. In our last vlog, we delved into the world of Jacques Derrida, the godfather of deconstruction. We explored his life, his philosophical approach, and why he's such a big deal. Today, we're taking a deep dive into one of his most influential works, Structure, Sign and Play in the Discourse of Human Sciences. But before we jump in, it's important to understand the academic landscape Derrida was working in when he wrote this essay. Think of it as setting the stage for the drama to unfold. So, buckle up, literature fans, because we are about to explore the world of structuralism and its underlying assumptions. We will see how Derrida challenged these ideas and paved the way for a whole new way of thinking about language, meaning, and the human sciences. Stay tuned, because in the coming videos, we will be dissecting structure, sign and play bit by bit. We will unpack Derrida's concepts of decenting, the play of signifiers, and the limitations of fixed meaning. This is going to be a wild ride, so hit that subscribe button and let's get started. Derrida's essay, Structure, Sign and Play in the Discourse of Human Sciences indeed extends beyond literary theory to encompass various human sciences, including linguistics, anthropology, philosophy and literature. Structuralism, pioneered by Saussure, had by the 1960s become a dominant force in European intellectual circles. Despite its popularity, structuralism was still viewed as a new and experimental movement, prompting a symposium at Johns Hopkins University in 1966 to assess its validity and impact. It aimed to examine structuralism's implications for the human sciences and its role in shaping intellectual discourse. This symposium featured contributions from several influential structuralist thinkers, alongside Derrida's seminal essay, including Lines and Squares, opening remarks by Richard Macksey. Tiresias and the Critic by René Girard. Literary Invention Discussion by Charles Maurras. Criticism and the Experience of Inferiority by Georges Paulet. The Two Languages of Criticism by Eugenio Donado. Structure, Human Reality and Methodological Concept by Lucien Goldman. Language and Literature by Tzvetan Todorov. To write, an intransitive verb by Roland Barthes, of Structure as an immixing of an Ardennes prerequisite to any subject whatever, by Jacques Lacan. Derrida's Structure, Sign and Play was presented at a time when structuralism and its implications were still being clarified. He viewed structuralism not as a cohesive movement but as a frenzy of experimentation. The symposium at Johns Hopkins University, instead of providing clear conclusions about structuralism, became a focal point for the structuralist controversy. This controversy revolved around two key issues central to Derrida's essay. The first issue was the consequences of applying the general theory of science and language systems to all areas of human sciences. The second issue was the relationship between subjective and objective judgments, which created significant tensions within the structuralist framework. Structure, Sign and Play uses structuralist principles to argue for a reevaluation of meaning and interpretation, advocating for an approach that acknowledges the absence of fixed centrality in both meaning and human nature. Derrida's Structure, Sign and Play is influenced by Friedrich Nietzsche, 1844–1900. Nietzsche, a renowned German philosopher, is known for his existentialist ideas. Like Nietzsche, Derrida questioned the certainty of philosophy and its supposed absolute truths. Both philosophers recognized the profound influence our perceptions have on us and sought to challenge and reverse binary oppositions such as truth-error, moral-amoral and subject-object. Sigmund Freud, 1856–1939. Freud, an Austrian neurologist and the founder of psychoanalysis, posited that the human psyche is not unified but influenced by subconscious elements from past experiences. Similarly, Derrida questioned the idea of a unified self, suggesting that our understanding of ourselves is also shaped by hidden, subconscious influences. Martin Heidegger, 1889 to 1976. Heidegger, a prominent German philosopher, is renowned for his work in hermeneutics, existentialism and phenomenology. The term deconstruction is derived from Heidegger's concept of destruction or destruction, which involves uncovering the hidden meanings and assumptions underlying philosophical concepts. Derrida also adopted Heidegger's method of crossing out terms after writing them, a practice that reflects a critical approach to language and meaning. Ferdinand de Saussure, 1857 to 1913. Saussure is credited as the founder of semiotics, the study of signs and symbols. He compared language to a game of football, where the rules of the game dictate the actions of its players. Similarly, Saussure argued that our communication within a language is governed by the structure of that language. Derrida's essay, Structure, Sign and Play, focuses extensively on structuralism, a concept deeply rooted in Saussure's linguistic theories. Alright everyone, that's all for today on the academic backdrop of Structure, Sign and Play. We have unpacked the world of structuralism and seen how Derrida was both influenced by and critical of this approach. Now that we have set the stage, it's time to dive into the heart of the essay itself. In our next vlog, we will be tackling Derrida's arguments head-on. We will explore his ideas about descenting, the free play of signifiers, and how meaning is constantly deferred. Get ready to have your mind bent a little, because Derrida's concepts are anything but straightforward. But fear not, literature friends. We will be breaking down these complex ideas into bite-sized chunks, so you can understand the power and controversy behind structure, sign and play. So hit that notification bell, because next time, we're going deep into the text itself. Until then, keep thinking critically, and keep questioning everything.